Picture this. You wake up tomorrow, you grab your coffee and you head to the driveway. You look at your car and you think, I'm good, this brand is solid. But what if I told you that the automaker behind your car is already circling the drain? Now, they may not announce it on the news, but behind the scenes, well, sales are collapsing, factories are shutting down, and dealerships are quietly disappearing. And here's the scary part. When a car brand collapses, it's the owners who suffer the most. Resale value tanks, parts dry up, dealerships stop servicing, and suddenly you're stuck with a car that nobody wants. It's kind of like holding a winning lottery ticket that expires before you can cash it in. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. 13 car brands on the edge of bankruptcy that you should avoid at all costs. Now, some of these are once legendary names. Some are luxury newcomers, and others, well, they're flashy EV startups that promise the world but deliver disappointment. And trust me, number one on this list, well, it'll blow your mind. But before we take a deep dive, it is imperative you hit that like button and subscribe so that you get notified the minute we produce another game-changing video that affects your car buying decisions. And I promise you'll appreciate it. So buckle up and let's plunge straight in. So as always, I'm going to be counting backwards and let's see how many you know about and those you had absolutely no idea that they were circling the drain. So starting at number 13, we have Genesis. Now, Genesis stormed into the US with bold styling, luxury features and prices that undercut BMW and Mercedes. But luxury buyers don't care about bargains. They care about status. And to many, well, Genesis still feels like Hyundai in disguise. In 2024, Genesis sold around 75,000 cars in the States. But next to BMW's 362,000 or Lexus's 319,000, well, it barely registered. But the bigger issue is trust. Recalls have already shaken confidence, including nearly 95,000 units for dangerous stalling failures. Depreciation is brutal. Used Genesis models often lose 50% of their value in just 3 years. Now, if you add rising tariffs on Korean imports and a lukewarm EV rollout, well, Genesis could soon become a brand with no loyal buyers and no real future. Down to number 12, we've got Buick. Now, Buick has long been labeled grandpa's car, and younger buyers aren't flocking to dealerships. Now, sales may have inched upwards, but Buick's lineup of SUVs feels like rebadged Chevrolets with no real identities. Mechanical issues with the Encore lineup and shrinking consumer confidence, well, it all means Buick is hanging by a thread. GM could easily pull the plug in America, leaving current owners with orphaned vehicles, even if its marketing stumbles. So the Tiger Woods sponsorship was supposed to inject life into the brand, but instead it highlighted how out of touch Buick seemed. Owners complain of poor resale, nagging oil leaks, turbo failures, and a lack of innovation. When rivals like Toyota and Honda dominate with strong reliability and resale, while Buick's weak position makes it one of the easiest targets for GM to actually axe. Down to number 11, we have the Lincoln. Now, Lincoln was once presidential level prestige, but today it's fighting for survival. From failing air suspensions to glitchy electronics, well, owners aren't getting the luxury that they paid for. Consumer Reports ranked Lincoln towards the bottom of luxury brands, and with dealerships shrinking, well, resale values continue to tank. Prestige alone sure isn't saving Lincoln. The brand's attempt at reinvention has fallen flat. Why? Well, younger buyers see BMW, Mercedes, and Lexus as aspirational, while Lincoln, well, it just feels dated. Even its most popular models, like the Navigator, are weighed down by recalls, leaking components, and overpriced maintenance. With fewer standalone dealerships and shrinking sales, well, Lincoln risks being remembered only as a historic name rather than a modern competitor. down to the top 10. And at number 10, we have the Alfa Romeo. Now, Alfa Romeo cars still turn heads, but the reliability is disastrous. Electrical glitches, transmission failing, and luxury interiors that feel cheap, they're all driving buyers away. In fact, sales are so weak that Alfa is practically surviving on discounts. Now, without a major turnaround, Alfa could be the next European brand to vanish from US roads. The deeper problem, of course, is brand perception. Once seen as exotic and thrilling, well, Alfa's reputation has been eroded by constant recalls and fragile build quality. Owners report uneven panel gaps, worn out suspensions, and endless warning lights. Now, when your car spends more time at the dealership than on the road, well, confidence disappears fast. If sales don't recover, even parent company Stellantis, well, they may not keep the brand alive. In at number 9, and this really is no surprise, we're talking Maserati. Now, Maserati global sales collapsed a huge 57% in 2024, from over 26,000 vehicles to just 11,000. Tariffs, weak EV launches, and collapsing demand leave Maserati fighting for relevance. If Stellantis pulls the plug, well, owners could be stuck with cars that are impossible to service or to sell. And Maserati's pricing, well, I'm afraid it only makes matters worse. The Levante SUV often starts above 90,000, but delivers performance and interiors rivaled by far cheaper vehicles. Recalls for engine stalling and electronic shorting have scared away repeat buyers. Meanwhile, rivals like Porsche and BMW, well, they're launching successful EVs, while Maserati cancels projects left and right. If they don't execute soon, well, the famous Trident badge may completely disappear from American roads. In at number 8, and I'm very disappointed to see this because it's one of my favorites, we're talking Jaguar. Now, once the pride of British luxury, Jaguar is gutted. In 2025, Jaguar killed almost its entire lineup, leaving just the F-Pace SUV. Its gamble to go fully electric has left showrooms barren. Global sales collapsed nearly 80% in the past decade. Now, without flawless EVs in the next 2 years, well, Jaguar risks total extinction. The rebranding hasn't helped either. The iconic leaping cat logo was swapped for a generic J in a circle, and that was a move that was widely mocked. Critics say Jaguar is chasing fashion trends instead of delivering engineering breakthroughs. Now, if you combine that with resale values that collapse faster than rivals, well, loyal fans are abandoning ship. So unless Jaguar nails its electric pivot, well, its legacy may become just that, history. So we're only halfway down this list, and the brands we've covered so far is shocking, but trust me, the top 5 will leave you absolutely stunned. One was once America's family car king, another is a household Japanese name, and 2 of them are EV startups that were supposed to rival Tesla. So don't click away, because what's coming next, well, it could save you thousands of dollars. So down to number 7, and at number 7, we have the Mitsubishi. Now, Mitsubishi was once a rally legend, but today it's barely alive. In 2025, US sales plunged below 20,000 units, and tariffs left cars stranded at ports. Scandals over falsified fuel economy data and decades of poor reliability have left its brand in total shambles, and buyers know it. Transmission failures, cheap interiors, electrical gremlins, and outdated tech make Mitsubishi's current lineup totally uninspiring. The Mirage, once marketed as the cheapest car in America, has been discontinued, leaving only SUVs that struggle to compete. Now, with Nissan already holding a controlling stake, many insiders believe it's only a matter of time before Mitsubishi is absorbed or eliminated altogether. Down to number 6, Infiniti. Now, Nissan's luxury arm has been collapsing for a decade. Standalone showrooms are closing, models keep disappearing, and resale values, well, they're crating. Once seen as a bold alternative to BMW, Infiniti is now little more than a fading Nissan with a higher price tag. Now, part of the problem is identity. Infiniti has failed to carve out a true luxury niche. Its interiors often feel like glorified Nissans, and the constant reliance on CVT transmissions has alienated driving enthusiasts. Recalls for airbags, steering failures, and underwhelming performance, well, they only make matters worse. So, unless its EV strategy pays off in 2027, well, Infiniti risks becoming yet another luxury brand that buyers simply forget. Down to number 5, Chrysler. Now, this may surprise you, but Chrysler is one of the sharpest declines in modern auto history. From 600,000 cars sold in 2005 to less than 125,000 in 2024. The 300 sedan is gone, the Voyager is fleet only, and the Pacifica minivan is losing ground. Stellantis executives have already warned Chrysler may not survive past 2026. And worse yet, Chrysler's future EV, the Airflow, was cancelled before production even began, leaving the brand with literally nothing new on the horizon. Recalls for stalling engines, defective electronics, and suspension failures all add insult to injury. So, with no fresh lineup and a dwindling customer base, well, Chrysler looks more like a relic of American automotive history than a modern competitor. Down to number 4, and I guess this one is pretty surprising too. We're talking Nissan. Now, Nissan is teetering. Once dominant with the Altima and the Maxima, sales are in freefall. Globally, Nissan is projecting billions in losses, with cancelled EV projects and failed merger attempts. Now, if you add in the Carlos Ghosn scandal and an emission cheating controversy, and Nissan's survival is now being openly questioned by insiders. Behind the scenes, factories are being shut down. 9,000 jobs have been cut, and rumors swirl about desperate merger talks with multiple automakers. Even long standing models like the Altima and the Rogue are losing ground to Toyota and Honda. If Nissan doesn't make a radical pivot in the next 12 to 18 months, well, experts warn it could be forced into a bailout or worse still, bankruptcy. Down to number 3. And at number 3, we have Lucid Motors. Now, Lucid was supposed to be the Tesla killer, but instead it lost nearly $3 billion in 2024 alone. Production delays, quality problems, and massive recalls have all destroyed consumer trust. Its stock has collapsed by more than 95%, and survival now rests on Saudi Arabia's deep pockets. The flagship Lucid Air, once praised for its range, has faced recalls for sudden power loss and glitchy software. Many owners report poor build quality, flimsy trim, and constant infotainment crashes. Now, with lawsuits stacking up and weak demand for its $100,000 EVs, well, Lucid may simply run out of cash before it can ever stabilize. At number 2, and I got to be honest, I love these cars. They're beautiful. But we've got Fisker. Now, Fisker filed for bankruptcy in June 2024. Its Ocean SUV was plagued with dangerous flaws, buggy software, and recalls before production stopped entirely. With billions in debt and lawsuits piling up, Fisker failed its loyal buyers twice in just over a decade. The heartbreaking part is that many buyers truly believed in Fisker's comeback story, only to end up with unsupported vehicles that can't even get serviced. The SEC has now stepped in, shareholder lawsuits accuse fraud, and dealerships have closed their doors. Now, for current owners, it's a financial disaster. Cars are unsellable, parts are unavailable, and warranties are worthless. So now we're down to number 1 brand of cars to avoid at all costs. and we're talking of the Canoo. Now, Canoo once had Walmart and NASA backing it. By early 2025, it was bankrupt with $50,000 in assets against $160 million in debt. Operations stopped cold, workers were laid off, and buyers were left with unsupported vans that, well, let's face it, are now totally worthless. This collapse was especially brutal. The Oklahoma factory never opened, the promised fleet orders never materialized, and even government loans fell through. Employees filed lawsuits accusing Canoo of hiding its financial troubles until the very end. Now, the futuristic vans that once symbolized hope, well, they're just stranded relics destined to become scrap metal. And that wraps up the 13 car brands headed towards bankruptcy. From luxury newcomers like Genesis to American icons like Chrysler, from Italian exotics like Maserati and Alfa Romeo to flashy EV startups like Lucid, Fisker, and Canoo. This list proves that no brand is really safe. Think about it. 10 years ago, nobody would have guessed Chrysler could disappear. 20 years ago, people thought Mitsubishi was unstoppable. And just 3 years ago, EV startups were hyped as the future of transportation. Yet, here we are. Brands are folding left and right, and the people who trusted them the most are the ones paying the price. So let me leave you with this. Buying a car is no longer just about the features on the sticker or the horsepower under the hood. It's about survival. It's about making sure the company behind your car will still exist 5 years from now. Otherwise, you could end up driving what looks like a shiny new vehicle today, but quickly turns into a financial anchor tomorrow. So don't forget, smash that like button, subscribe for more insider breakdowns, and share this video so others don't end up stuck with a dying brand. Your support spreads the truth that dealerships and automakers really don't want you to hear. So have a great day, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.